January 17, 1919. The Withrow Banner, Withrow, Washington. Epigraphs prove a puzzle. Explanation of hieroglyphics, admittedly very old, will surely be of the greatest interest. Amateur archaeologists of California are endeavoring to interest professional scientists of the East in the epigraphs which abound on the rocks of Round Valley, not far from the city of Bishop, and which are believed to be as old, if not older, than the hieroglyphics of earliest Egypt, to which they bear a strange resemblance. It is believed by many that the strange markings constituted the names by which ancient tribes marked the source of water supply for the benefit of those of their number who lived roving lives. These hieroglyphics have never been deciphered, although they are matters of record in the leading museums of the country, it is said. The Indian tribes now living in the vicinity declare they are the work of the Indians of North America and that they antedate all Aboriginal lore. Some who have examined the strange markings in the flinty boulders say the hieroglyphics closely resemble those of earliest Egypt and may replace the latter as the first written language of humanity. They are found always in the vicinity of water supplies, the same markings discovered near Bishop appearing also on rocks extending through the Canadian border, down through Washington, Oregon, and California to the Mexican line and beyond. This fact, it is argued, indicates that prehistoric tribes marked a highway for their migrating members or for their armies, giving specific directions as to the best water supplies along the way. August 31, 1921, the Carroll Herald, Carroll, Iowa. Dispute over use of caves. Scientists disagree as to whether they were habitations or tombs of primitive race. Curious caves in the Matsuyama Hills in the province of Saitama near Tokyo, Japan, are believed by some to have been the homes of an ancient race called the Tsuchiguma, or earth spiders, who lived long before the ancient Ainos. Others think them to be tombs, while many are convinced that they are merely shelters used by the primitive tribe when pursued by enemies. The caves are all on the southern slope of the hills and command an extended view of a fertile valley. This strategic position argues for those who believe the caves to have been habitations and not tombs. About 200 of them have been unearthed. Seen from a distance, they resemble a huge swallow bank. They are so close together that the inner walls almost touch, and are entered through a narrow, long, low passageway, so low in fact that a man cannot stand upright in the largest one. Each room is about 6 by 9 feet in size. The ceiling is domed, and along the side is a ledge raised about 9 inches from the ground. This was doubtless covered with leaves and used as a bed. No tools, weapons, or household articles have been unearthed, and there are no drawings on the walls, nor any sign of a pathway outside. The only light comes from the passageway. The caves are practically unknown and unvisited except by a few scholars. February 12, 1924. The Evening News, San Jose, California. Swimmer explores mysterious river. Paris, February 12. Some interesting and thrilling stories are told in connection with the feats of some of the unsuccessful candidates for the Grand Prix of the Académie des Sports, but they are overshadowed by the publicity given to the feat of the winner. The prize for the 1923 recently awarded to Alain Gerbeau, a noted tennis player, went to him only after a spirited debate of the jury, some of whose members favored Norbert Casteret, a student at the University of Toulouse. The prize is awarded annually to the man or men accomplishing a sporting exploit of France by a Frenchman or foreigner, or abroad by a Frenchman, likely to result in a material scientific or moral progress for humanity. Gerbaud won the prize by making a trip across the Atlantic in a 30-foot sloop. In the region of Saint-Martyr, department of the Haute-Garonne, a brook enters the north side of a mountain 1,500 feet in altitude, runs through a gulch regarded as impenetrable, and emerges on the southern slope of the mountain. On August 23, 1923, Casteret, a strong swimmer and expert diver, decided to explore the brook. Before taking the leap into the unknown, Casteret made his will. Then, armed only with candles, adequately protected from the water to dispel the darkness of the subterranean cavern, the young student dived in. The distance between the spot where the water disappears into the mountain to its outlet on the other side measures 3/4 of a mile. For 3 hours, friends waited in anxiety at the mouth of the grotto. Suddenly, dripping with muddy water, disheveled and haggard, but with the grim smile of victory on his features, the student was shot out of the mountain into the arms of his exuberant friends. He told a remarkable story of courage and energy, fighting against the current, swimming to the vacillating light of the candle. Casteret, in many places of the grotto where the water met with the roof of stone, had to halt. Ignorant as to whether the brook, which in these spots assumed exactly the appearance of a huge pipe completely filled with rushing water, would again, after a few feet widen, and the swimmer find open air above his head, he had to decide whether to turn back or to chance the long swim underwater. He chose the latter. His courage was rewarded, for after a swim underwater, which he reckoned at about 70 feet, he emerged into a dry gallery about 600 feet long and quite high above his head. In this grotto, Casteret declared he discovered a wonderful prehistoric museum. Upon the walls of the cavern, engraved as if with sharp instruments or painted, were mysterious characters, in a language which Casteret had never before seen or heard of. Statues of clay, some of them well preserved, depicted animals which have long since disappeared from the surfaces of Europe. 2 of these, that of a bear and a tiger, which Casteret said must have dated at least as far back as 20,000 years, were so lifelike and well preserved that he was of the opinion that the live animals had become petrified with the clay of the earth in the course of some cataclysm. Some of the members of the jury argued that while the exploit of Casteret, from a spectacular point of view, did not compare with that of Gerbaud, it had far more value from a scientific side. They were overruled. September 19, 1924, The Evening News, San Jose, California. New pre-Indian culture find in Sierras. Visalia, California. Archaeologists of the University of California are to be invited by W.H. Hart, a pioneer resident of Woodlake, Tulare County, to go with him back into the Isham Valley country in the high Sierras to inspect a recent discovery that some unknown race preceded the Indians in that country. Pending the visit of scientists, Hart is guarding his secret and has told few people of the location of his find. In the heavily wooded and rocky sections within walking distance of General Grant National Park, Hart says he uncovered a considerable deposit of flint, entirely unknown to Tulare County mountains. Flint cut into shapes and sizes somewhat resembling broken weapons of warfare, and possible bits of some ancient pottery, likewise different from that known to have been made by the Indians, caused the finder to look further, and he now believes his discoveries were merely surface indications of what may be found beneath the layer of 6 feet of soil which covers the small area. He made no attempt to dig, confining his search to what may be seen upon the surface. Diamonds found. 5 small stones resembling diamonds were picked up. 2 of these Hart had tested by a San Francisco jewel expert who, he says, pronounced them real diamonds of rare excellence. If they are real diamonds, Hart declares, they are the only ones ever found back in the Sierra Nevada mountains, and he believes they must have been brought into the section by some age-old civilization which frequented the region.